Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in and check out another one of my reviews. So a short while ago, I mentioned to you guys that Olsa Tools reached out to me and they sent me a couple of items they wanted me to review. So here is one of my favorite right here. If you don't have one of these sets, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to show you why you should have one. This is a set of nano sockets. I believe this is 17 pieces. Now there is a few companies that sell this. Every one of them, of course, slightly different. So let me show you. I already own, besides this set here, I already own a set of the Harbor Freight ones. Harbor Freight also sells the nano sockets. Okay. The Harbor Freight sockets come with a 15-piece set. The Olsa Tools is a 17-piece set. So the Harbor Freight comes in this little foam kind of tray if you like to keep them that way in your toolbox. But what I like best about the nano sockets from Olsa Tools is that they come in a rail. So you don't actually have to buy, if you want to just keep them a little more compact. I mean, you look at this, if you take the Harbor Freight one and you look at how much space 15 sockets are going to take in your tool chest versus 17 sockets, more sockets, less space. So this will be awesome in the toolbox. But in either case, this is a set of sockets that every DIYer, every mechanic should have. And these are, again, the nano sockets. And I'm going to show you why they're great to have. The one thing I forgot to mention initially was that this is a no skip socket set. So you have 17 sockets with no skip sizes. That way you're almost always going to have the size that you need. Let me show you the advantage of having the nano sockets versus, I mean, they're all the same height. So we're just going to choose one at random here. And we're going to put it next to your standard socket. Okay, so if you look at it, okay, putting it next to your standard socket, already you can see that you'd be saving a little bit of space when you're working in a tight spot. And that's the advantage that these nano sockets have. Now, let me show you the difference between your average standard. Okay, the difference. Okay, so here we're looking at about 22 millimeters on the nano socket, right? Close to 23. And this is, you're looking at 28 and a half. So you look at that, that's a really big difference. I mean, to the naked eye, when you look at them, you don't see much of a difference, but this can be the difference between, being able to fit that socket in there and not being able to fit that into that tight workspace. Now, when you go ahead and add a ratchet, and I'm going to use this Olsa Tools ratchet that I have, and you add it, now you look at how much distance you need to have, how much space you need to have in order to work. Not to mention, when that bolt starts coming out, if you don't have enough clearance, now you're not going to be able to even pull the ratchet up. Now when you have a nano socket, again, it's a little shorter, you can a little more playroom. So let's just go ahead and say, okay, fine, so this is a fairly bulky ratchet, but I have a thin 3/8 ratchet here. It's a lot thinner. And when you look at that, look how short, how much less space you need using a very thin head ratchet compared to using the ratchet, even a thin head ratchet with a standard socket. Now, the beauty of these things, okay, fine. So let's say, for example, let's just use this as an example. I'm going to go ahead and measure this. Now I got the shortest, or the thinnest head ratchet, I should say, that I have right now. And I'm going to measure them. And we're looking at about 35 millimeters, okay? So you're going to need 35 millimeters of space, and a little some, of course. Now, the advantage that these sockets have, if you haven't already noticed, is that they have a hex head. So if you go ahead, for example, in this case, we're going to use a 11/16. We put this in there, and it works. Now, we went from 35 using a standard ratchet to only 23. That's a significant drop in space that we need. So look how thin this is if you want to work somewhere where it's a little tight. Now, there is a flaw with using a box wrench. And the flaw, if you haven't already noticed, is that you can easily drop it. Okay? So this can actually fall right out of this. So you got to kind of be careful as you're working that, you hold this in place until you get it where you need it. When you're pulling it away, make sure that you don't drop the socket, because there is nothing really in here to hold it. But there's a fix for that. Okay, so now we know that using a box wrench, if you can use it, then you have to less space that you have to worry about, okay? But also you have to remember your average box wrench is not very long. So, you have to be able to reach with this wherever it is you're working. Now, check this out. To make these nano sockets even better, you can complement them with a special wrench that is designed for them. And let me show you that right now. A company by the name of DURATECH made a special wrench exclusively designed for these nano sockets. And let me show you the advantage of using this guy here on these nano sockets. So here we have it, guys. This is the special wrench, okay? And I call this a special wrench for a reason. If we look inside here, I don't know how well you can see it. You'll notice, let me see, let me try to get the right angle. In here, you'll notice it's like a metal ring. There's a metal ring. I'm trying to turn this in a way where you can see it. Right dead in the center, okay, there's a metal ring. That ring goes all the way around. And the purpose of that ring is to go ahead and latch on to those little, let me put this down, guys. It'll latch on to these little cuts that you see here, okay? And the reason you want that is because they snap in. Now, you don't have to worry about dropping the socket. Not only is it keeping the socket in place, but because of this special tool, now you have extended reach. So you have a lot more distance that you can work with to go ahead and remove whatever bolt it is. And it still keeps the profile small. So we were at 23, okay? Because of the size of the head on this special wrench, we go up a little bit, but not much. We went up to 25. Okay, so if you guys are planning to get the nano sockets, remember you can use them with a box wrench like I used there, or you can buy this tool, and I'll share the link for this tool as well. Olsa Tools doesn't make this tool, this specific wrench. They make the sockets, they don't make the wrench. So I'm hoping that if they watch this video, and I'm sure they will because they did send me these sockets for free so that I can review them for you guys, hopefully they go ahead and put this into their arsenal and eventually start making this special wrench available in the Olsa brand for people to use with their nano sockets. So guys, if you're a DIYer, if you're a mechanic, I highly encourage you to add one of these sets to your tool arsenal. Like I said, this is something that you're going to find very useful, and maybe you don't need it now, but the day that you find yourself working in a really tight spot, you're going to be glad you got it. There is several places to buy it, so you can probably pick these up on Amazon. But honestly, I like the way that Olsa Tools sets this up, and it's not because they sent them to me, but just in general, they come in a much thinner profile as far as storage, and you get more sockets with a built-in rail. There's nothing else to buy. If you are going to get these, unless Olsa Tools decides they want to add that special wrench to their lineup, you might want to also grab one of these guys because it's going to make a world of difference. Like I said, look at this. It stays in place. And when you're ready, just push it out. Look at this. It holds it so well, I actually had to pull it hard enough to get it. You're good to go, guys. Look at this. Look at this tiny profile, man. This is awesome. You don't know how many times I wish I had something this thin because I found myself working in areas that are just extremely tight. So guys, I highly encourage you. Check it out. I'll add the link to that tool as well as the socket set, the nano socket sets from Olsa Tools. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate your subscription. I look forward to your comments. I cannot emphasize enough how much this means to me and how you would be helping me out by asking your friends, coworkers, family members to subscribe to my channel. It makes a big deal for me. It allows me to continue to create content like this and continue to provide more helpful details and more helpful reviews. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next one.